Bear Rinehart, Need to Breathe. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Into the Mystery, you have a 12-song album. I want to talk about how you got the songs. It's fantastic. And also the three amazing guest artists you have on it. Go.
Yeah. I honestly wrote, I think 70 or 80 songs maybe over the pandemic, and just had this feeling like if I don't demo them out, no one's going to hear them. I wasn't loving the Zoom writing thing, so it's kind of left on my own a little bit. And when I first started writing, I didn't, and I said the first started, the whole time pretty much, I didn't think there would be another Need to Breathe record this soon. So that was kind of freeing, honestly. I didn't know what I was writing for, but it's more for myself. And so that's kind of how I started going. I started sending the songs to the guys in the band and getting their feedback and takes. And just quickly, I realized that we have a lot of songs that they like. And so really, I just let them pick what songs made the record. I really didn't have too big of a say in it. I was like, man, I'm just so close to all these songs, and they feel so natural for me right now. And so, when you're in a co-write, it can be great because you're getting the perspectives of three or four different people. The one thing you lose is a little bit of that personal story. Sometimes it's hard, for other people not to put in their elements of it. And so I feel like this record has a lot of those types of songs where it's just like, it's me just, having these therapy sessions with myself. And so that is a pretty crazy thing now to hear the record back, because it does feel a lot like, it's relatable, but it's very much my experience. So I think that part's cool. As far as the guests and stuff, it was really the way I talked the band, or not the band, the label, into making another record, because it was really soon after Out of Body came out that we're going back in the studio. I came up with this marketing pitch of like, we're going to go in there and we'll have a guest on every song and we'll film it all and we'll make episodes out of it. Which none of that happened exactly like that. We get in there for a couple days and we're like, oh man, this feels like a Need to Breathe record, and it feels like a special one. So we shouldn't have guests on every song. That would just be weird. And so we called, honestly, most of the guests, and we're like, we're not going to do it this time. So that was a little strange. And then the whole episodes thing and all that, it was going to be we were going to call it Out of Mind, so a continuation of Out of Body. And it was pretty clear it was something different when we got in there. So it turned into a film and all that. So really a product of what happened to us, circumstance, in kind of a great way. A lot of times you have to plan records so far out, and this was more like, just give us a budget to go in there and work, and we worked, and it turned into this thing. So I feel really special about that. Natalie Hemby is one of the guests, and if you know her, she's one of the sweetest.
I was going to bring her up. She's my favorite singer. We go to the same church.
Okay.
She's one of my most favorite singers and most favorite humans.
Yeah, she was one of the first co-writes I did when I moved to Nashville. And I'm really thankful for that, because she's such a soulful person, and sometimes it can be a little like machine driven in those rooms, and she wasn't that way, and that was really great. And the reason we kept her on as a guest, honestly, was the bridge was unwritten on the song, and I was really kind of selfishly hoping that she'd help me write it when she got there to sing. And so that's what we did. We literally, like, she got there, we wrote it in an hour or so, and then we're like, let's sing it. Okay. So that was awesome and a great experience. And then John Foreman is a buddy who's, I've been friends with for a long time now. We were fans of Switchfoot when we were kids. So that happened really naturally, but it was more like I wrote half the song and I sent it to him. I was like, if Need to Breathe and Switchfoot ever did do a song together, it should sound something like this. And he's like, I love it. And he sent the rest of the song back in like 20 minutes. And so then we were really fortunate. He got to come down to the studio, the house we were staying in Columbia, and hang for a day and kind of be part of the band. And, that night we sat around the campfire and told stories about our band stuff and most embarrassing things that ever happened, big mistakes we made, and this kind of thing. So just a really sweet thing. And then Carrie Underwood, was kind of a hope and a prayer, really. It was, I had worked on her thing pretty recently, but it was after our record had been kind of like at least recorded. It wasn't all mixed and everything. And I kind of was listening back to the record, and I heard the songs. I thought to myself, like, I need a female vocalist on this. But it was really like, what if Carrie would do it? There's no way she would say yes to this, kind of thing. So text the manager and stuff, and that happened really naturally too, super fast. She's like, I want to do it, and I'm down to do whatever. I'll shoot the video with you. I'll do whatever you want to do. I was like, this is kind of an insane deal. So we had a great time with it.
You just said in another interview that you were more terrified of that singing with her than on your wedding day.
Yes, easily. The harmonies is not what I do. I mean, like for me, I've always been a lead singer, so I've never had to do it too much, and I'm really bad at it. I've just have that in my mind of like, I cannot do that. So she asked me to do that, and she asked me to do it on a song that I know the song, but I didn't know the arrangement. She didn't send it to me before. So I just show up and kind of like, we'll see what happens. And it's Carrie Underwood, so she sings all over the gym. It's like in a great way. It's super. Every chorus has like little changes and all this stuff. And I told her when I got there, I was like, this is going to be pretty rough. Just so you know, like you're going to have to take your time with this and whatever. She's super sweet about it. So yeah, getting over that, and then I sang it with her at the Ryman for a live thing. That was like, I told my wife, I was like, if I can do that, I probably do pretty much anything in music.
It's got to be cool to know too that she sought you out first. I mean, I'd be like wearing that as a badge of honor if I was you.
Yeah. It's. I should be like that, but it's. No. It was obviously super sweet and very like. She's just obviously one of the better singers out there. So the idea that you can kind of get in there and hang a little bit is really cool.
So your Into the Mystery block party is happening this Sunday. Is that right? Sunday? Okay. So why do you want to do this big Nashville celebration? You guys travel all over the world. What makes you want to celebrate it here?
Yeah. The idea came about a few years ago. I'm going to say it's been 6 or 7 years ago, I think. We did when Grammys was at the old location. We did a thing, and I don't know why we signed up for it when we did. It was like a record coming out week, vinyl thing, and it just turned into like a pandemonium, kind of like people were on the rafters and in the stairwells and all that, and that experience was really like, we look back and like we were on this small stage, no production or anything, but it was just a great way to celebrate a record, and so that's kind of where this derived from, and I moved here almost 4 years ago now, I guess, and it's just become such a community for me. Like I know I'll be here forever, and the friends we have that are writers and in music and all that want to support was like, man, let's just throw a big party in the like most ridiculous place you could, and let's see if we can create a scene down there. Which I know a scene happens down there all the time, but one around our stuff, and so we're excited about it. I'm gonna try to play over the pedal cars and all that stuff that are going on down there, play as loud as we can.
How would you describe, when I was listening to it, your first track on Into the Mystery, it almost sounded kind of folky, like it was a really cool vibey thing. If somebody didn't know your music, how would you describe what Need to Breathe is?
I have a hard time with that. I always say rock and roll. I'm always like, it's soulful rock and roll. If I'm not trying to be cool, I would say, that like, it's like Southern Coldplay. It's like, so there's some anthemic moments to it. It's like funny, like that song is a good example of a song I took in. The demo was totally like tricked out and very digital sounding because I had done it myself. So it had an acoustic on there, but it wasn't what it sounds like now. We really, when we got into the house, tried to pursue what the house sounded like. We keep using that phrase of like, what does it feel like in here? What is it? So that lent itself to more acoustic instruments and strings and just a really comfortable vibe, I guess. So if you heard the demo, you'd be like, I don't know where that came from, but I'm thankful it landed where it did.
Would you describe your music? You talk about faith a lot. Are you a Christian band?
Some
of it has crossed over pretty well, and that's awesome.
Yeah. We've always basically, our faith is really important to us, and I think everybody in the band is kind of in a different place with that. That's always been a tough thing to be like, yeah, we're a Christian band, And I think the same thing is like, just like any genre, I talk about like jam bands. It's like, worst thing could be is a jam band because people think like you can't write songs. I think the same thing with Christian music. It's just like, man, is this pigeonholed in a certain way, or is that limiting to us? So I don't know. We've always sort of balanced that in some way. I think we're much less, worried about it these days. Like people can call us what they want to call us as long as they'll come and see our band play. So I've kind of taken that road a little bit more recently.
I like it. This might be a hard question. For better or worse, or both, how have you changed after the last year?
Um, yeah, honestly, I think it's been mostly for the better. A lot of, I would describe it as a house of mirrors, especially for a band that's been touring for 20 years. I came home and I was like, whoa, this is getting real. And I'll have little kids too, which is this kind of craziness surrounding it. But I feel like I've always been a very serious person. It started when I was like a college football player. I just had that mindset and brought that into music. And honestly, it doesn't serve you well in the artistic side of what we do very much. So this last year or so has really been about me sort of engaging that 8-year old that's inside of me, just trying to enjoy music. And like my favorite moments making this record, were when I was in here by myself writing and something would happen just that I didn't mean for it to happen. Just like you come upon something or something out of the sky, has hit. And it's like I would just be dying laughing in here by myself. It's like there's such a joy, good feeling. So I think that's really what I'm trying to press into, learn from my kids about they're just in awe and wonderment of everything. Have no insecurities, they just walk into the room butt naked and they're excited to be there. Like, I just want to be more like that, and I think that maybe not the naked part, but just, just that sort of feeling about life, and so I really am trying to embrace that.
Awesome. Good to talk to you. Let's do this again sometime because you're super fun. Maybe when it's not storming outside.
I hear you. I hear you. Thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it. Nice to
Bear.
meet you.
Best of luck to you, and the album's phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.